Alright, let's do our second one today. We're going to be doing 2.10, and we're going to be looking at decimal multiplication. Now, multiplication is pretty much stays the same no matter what you're doing, but we just have to remember there's this particular rule for multiplying decimals, and it's going to be kind of important when we're doing our decimals multiplication. This one, of course, I'm going to want you to line it up and see all of your work, because we are remembering how to do our multiplication. If you just show me it using a calculator, that's not going to count because it doesn't really show that you know anything, right? Okay. Excuse me. So, a couple words to remember. We're just going to write down a definition of product. And remember, a product is the answer to a multiplication problem. Now, let's quickly do a multiplication problem using our old method. So our example 1. Say we're going to multiply 12 times 27. To do this, excuse me, I'm going to first line them up. 12 by 27. And remember, this is the one that I have to kind of do two different sets, and then I have to add them together. So I'm going to start with just my 7. That's going to be my first step, right? And then I go 7 times 2 is 14. Carry the 4. 7 times 1 is 7. Plus 1 is 8. Now I'm not done because I've only used this 7. So now I'm going to kind of look past the 7 and pretend that's a 0. I'm going to add a 0 down here. Then I'm going to use this 2 to represent that now I'm in the tens place. So I do 2 times 2 is 4. And 2 times 1, I'm not carrying that because I already used that guy. 2 times 1 is 2. So now I have 84 and 240. I have to add them up, and that gives me 4. I'm going to carry this little 1, 2, and then I'm going to add a 3 down right here. So I have my total of 324. Okay? That's what I'm doing if I'm multiplying just regular whole numbers. Let's take a look if I'm going to do the same thing when I'm going to do a decimal. Say this time I'm multiplying 2.3 times 4.6. It basically looks exactly the same except for the end. So I'm going to line it up and I'm going to write 2.3 times 4.6. And I'm going to go through my steps again. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 is 13. And then I'm going to go down a line, add my 0, look past the 6. 4 times 3 is 12. I'm going to recarry. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 90. Now I'm going to add. 8 plus 0 is 8. 3 plus 2 is 5. 1 plus 9 is 10, which gives me 1,058. But the key here is that I need to count up all the digits that are past the decimal point. I have 2 digits past the decimal point right here. That means that I need to take my decimal point, which is technically right here in this number, 1,058, and I'm going to move it 2 digits over. And I'm going to put it right here. So I'm going to get rid of that, I'm going to get rid of that, and my real answer is 10.58. Again, it looks like I forgot to put boxes around my numbers. So the key here is when multiplying decimals, we are going to make sure to count the digits. Count the digits after the decimal point in our original numbers, then move the decimal point the same amount of spaces in your answer. Oh, sorry, it should be spaces to the left. I'll do one more. For some of these, you will have to round them first, and that's going to be kind of the key. So we're going to do one of these, and we're going to round to the nearest tenth first. So round to nearest tenth. Oops. Nearest tenth. Then multiply. Okay, let's look at this one. It says 9.29 times 0.6521. 0.6521. Okay, my first step is I'm going to have to round to the 10th. Right? Let me see, is that what I wrote? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Yep. So here my rounding digit is my 2. I'm going to look to the right. Oh, it's a 9. That means I need to go up 1. So I'm going to write 9.3, and I get rid of everything else, turn it into a 0. Times 0. Okay, so 6 is my rounding digit. I look to the right. Oh, it's a 5, which means I go up, so it turns into a 0.7. And that's it. Good to go. So I'm going to go line them up. 9.3 times 0.7. 7, oops, let me put my little line. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 9, or I can do my finger rule, is 63. Plus 2 is 65. Now, I could do my tens here, but it's kind of pointless because it's going to be 0 times everything. So I'm good. I've got 651, but before I can be totally done, I do have to do my decimal part. So I count up here, 1 and 2. I only have 2 numbers past the decimal point, so I'm going to slide my decimal over. So I've got 6.51 as my answer. Okay? Now if you want to stop, that's fine. I want to do one more quick one to show what we do if we have more than 2 decimal points. This one's just going to be a little bit longer. Okay, my last example here is going to be 6.09 times 3.34. And I'm going to line them up like this. 6.09, 3.34 times. Now, if you remember, I have 3 digits down here, so I'm going to have to add up a total of 3 parts down here. So 4 times 9 is 36. 4 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3. And 4 times 6 is 24. Okay, let's get rid of my 4, put a 0. 3 times 3, let's kill this 3. 3 times 9 is 27. 3 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. 3 times 6 is 6, 12, 18. And lastly, let's do our 3. I have to put 2 zeros down here to represent these 2 numbers I blacked out. 3 times 9 is 27. 3 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. 3 times 6 is 18. Okay, now I'm going to add up my total. 6. I'm going to carry 1. I've got 7 and 3 is 10, which is 10. 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 and 7 is 14. 10, 11, 12, 13. 8, 9, 10. And 2. Okay, now before I want to put any of my commas or notations in, I have to move my decimal points over. So I'm going to count up all the numbers, even the one that I scribbled out, because those are kind of important in their key. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so my decimal points here. I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so my real answer is 20.3406. And that's how I would do a giant decimal multiplication like that. Okay, got it? We all happy? Good. Better be.